Open your fridge for 1 second. Look at the eggs inside. They are probably in a neat little carton. Same shape, same size, maybe white, maybe brown. And without thinking, you assume one thing. They came from chickens. That feels normal, almost too normal to question. But that is where it gets strange. Chickens are not the only birds that lay eggs. Ducks lay eggs, geese lay eggs, quail lay eggs, turkeys lay eggs, ostriches lay eggs. And one of the most interesting eggs is the one most Americans almost never eat. The duck egg. Stay till the end. The last part will completely change how you think about this, because this is not just a story about eggs. By the end, you will understand something bigger. You will see how fear shapes food. You will see how habit controls stores. You will see how culture changes what feels edible. And you will see how one old decision can quietly shape what millions of people call normal. Duck eggs are not strange, useless food. They are actually impressive. A duck egg is usually much bigger than a chicken egg. About 50% bigger. It has more protein, it has more fat, it has more vitamin B12, it has more iron, and the yolk takes up more space inside the egg. That bigger yolk matters, especially in cooking. Bakers often love duck eggs. They can make cakes richer, they can make pastries fuller, they can make baked foods feel heavier and more satisfying. In some recipes, one duck egg can do the work of 1.5 chicken eggs. So it is not just a larger egg, it is a stronger ingredient. And there is another detail, almost nobody talks about it. Some people who cannot eat chicken eggs may be able to eat duck eggs without the same reaction. That happens because the allergy-triggering proteins are not structured exactly the same. So for some people, duck eggs are not just a substitute. They can be a workaround. Think about that for a moment. For a family managing a chicken egg allergy, this is not a small detail. It could change breakfast. It could change baking. It could change school lunches. It could change everyday cooking. A food that looked impossible might suddenly have another path. So now the obvious question appears. If duck eggs are bigger, richer, and more nutritious, why are they so hard to find? And if some people with chicken egg allergies can eat them, why are they not more common? Why can you walk into a normal American grocery store and see endless chicken eggs, organic eggs, cage-free eggs, brown eggs, white eggs, jumbo eggs, cheap eggs, expensive eggs, but not one carton of duck eggs? At first, the answer seems simple. Maybe ducks are just worse for farming. And honestly, that is partly true. Chickens are extremely convenient for big egg farms. A laying hen can eat a simple low-cost feed mix, around 16% protein. She starts producing eggs at about 5 months old. The system is efficient. The system is predictable. The system is easy to scale. Ducks are more complicated. They often need feed with more protein, closer to 20 to 24%. They need more niacin. They need more calcium for strong shells. And many ducks do not reach the same output as quickly as chickens. Now imagine a huge commercial farm, tens of thousands of birds. A tiny difference in feed cost becomes huge. A small delay in production becomes expensive. A small efficiency problem becomes a business problem. So yes, on paper, chickens are easier. But that answer has a crack in it, because there is one duck breed that makes the story less simple. The Khaki Campbell. This duck was developed in England in the early 1900s. It was bred for egg production. Not just for ponds, not just for looks. It was bred to lay. A well-managed flock of Khaki Campbell ducks can produce more than 300 eggs a year. That is close to what a commercial laying hen can do. So ducks are not always hopeless competitors. Some ducks can keep pace. Egg for egg. That means the farming explanation only gets us part of the way. Something else happened. Something pushed duck eggs out of the American diet almost completely. And that thing was fear. To understand it, we need to go back. Back to the years after World War II. At that time, duck eggs were not so strange in America. They were not as common as chicken eggs, but they were not rare either. You could find them in markets. Bakers used them. Families on farms had them. They moved through local food systems, often right beside chicken eggs. During the war, egg production had been pushed hard. Dried egg powder was shipped overseas in huge amounts. It helped feed troops. Small-scale duck keeping was still common on family farms. So duck eggs had a normal place in local markets. They were simply eggs from another bird. Then everything changed. A series of salmonella outbreaks were linked to duck eggs, and once that link appeared, their reputation collapsed. But the connection was not as simple as people thought. Salmonella is not only a duck egg problem. Under bad conditions, it can affect any bird egg. Chicken eggs included. But ducks had one big disadvantage in the public imagination. Ducks were linked with wet places, mud, ponds, puddles, damp ground, messy nesting areas. And duck eggshells are more porous than chicken eggshells. That made contamination easier to imagine. It also made duck eggs easier to blame. So a story formed. Duck eggs were risky. That idea spread fast. Newspapers repeated the warning. Health officials focused on duck eggs. And in the public mind, duck eggs became the suspicious egg. The unsafe egg. The egg to avoid. Once a food gets labeled dangerous, the damage can last, even when the full story is more complicated. By the time the panic faded, the shelf had already moved on. Chicken eggs filled the space. Farmers adjusted, distributors adjusted, packers adjusted, supermarkets adjusted. Customers got used to buying chicken eggs. Stores got used to stocking chicken eggs. The whole chain centered around one product. And once a supply chain builds itself around one product, it rarely turns around. It does not stop and ask if the old reason still makes sense. But here is where the story gets even stranger. The salmonella scare explains why duck eggs disappeared. It does not explain why they never came back. Because food safety changed. Refrigeration improved. Regulations improved. Modern farming practices improved. Eggs are now washed. They are graded. They are shipped cold. They move through systems designed to reduce risk. So the original fear became far less relevant. A modern duck egg farm using modern standards should not be treated like a danger from 70 years ago. And we know this because duck eggs never disappeared everywhere. In China, duck eggs stayed normal. In Vietnam, duck eggs stayed normal. In the Philippines, duck eggs stayed normal. People boil them, people cure them, people make salted egg yolks. People use them in everyday food. They are sold in markets beside chicken eggs. There, they are not treated like a forgotten risk. They are just food. So the fear may have lasted only a short time, but the absence lasted for generations. And that is the real lesson. This stopped being a safety story. It became a habit story. When one generation stops buying something, the next generation does not miss it. They do not ask where it went. They may not even know it was ever there. If you never saw duck eggs as a child, you do not expect them as an adult. And if shoppers do not expect them, stores do not stock them. Grocery stores do not gamble on what people might buy someday.